I'd like to hear Congressman Marcoleta. Isa pang ano ito.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Yusek Lau,
Opo, Mr. Chairman.
narinig mo na ba yung kwento ng isang taong naghahanap ng isang bagay na nawala? Nasa ilalim siya ng isang poste na may ilaw. Have you heard of that story?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Sa ngayon, malalaman mo. Ayun nga, naghahanap siya ng isang bagay, paikot-ikot siya sa lugar na yon. Merong nakapansin sa kanya, tinanong siya, Mama, ano po yung hinahanap ninyo? Nawala ko kasi susi ng bahay ko eh. Nawala ko dun sa may, yung tabing, meron kasing maliit na woods eh. Parang forest to sa tabi niya. Nagtaka yung tao na nagtanong sa kanya, doon po pala nawala. Bakit dito po ninyo hinahanap? Ang sagot ng matanda, Yusek Lau, dito yung may ilaw eh. Do you understand the gist of that story?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Kung talagang nawala, may hinahanap siya kung ano man yun, doon niya hanapin. Bakit nandun siya sa ilaw? Malaking publicity rito, pare. Okay?
Not on my part, Mr. Chairman.
Nandoon yung instrument na nagagamit. Alin ba talaga ang gusto nating sabihin dito? Are we doing this for the good of the country? Like what our chairman elucidated earlier? O naghahanap ka ng wala sapagkat nasa ilalim ka ng ilaw ng publisidad? Did you get the story?
I got the story, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Ang ganda ng, what is that? Is that a metaphor or a metaphor? Yeah. It is a metaphor. Sana nakinig si Gordon. Siya yun eh. Now, let's go to the Philippine Red Cross. When I asked for an audit of the Philippine Red Cross by COA, it is with legal basis under the Constitution and Republic Act number 172 of the Philippine Red Cross Act of 2009. Alam mo, kailangan ko ipaimbestiga ang Red Cross for a host of reasons. Pero una niyan, pera. Sabi ko nga, I want to know if yung PDAF mo, ibinigay mo doon sa Red Cross, inidikit mo, so that pag na-commingle na yan sa funds, there can never be an audit in your theory. Kasi hindi pwedeng mag-audit ang COA sa Red Cross. I disagree with you as a lawyer, and I'm pointing out to you the Constitution and the Republic Act. And I dare say that you are wrong. This is the same law that requires the PRC to submit to the Office of the President of the Philippines its annual financial report. Wala kang nga binigay. You know, it's the Constitution itself requires bidding for every centavo that goes into the private hands for the purpose of charity, yung mga, itong Red Cross, a very laudable entity. Kaya lang, all these years, hinawakan mo, you squat on it and destroyed everything, including its credibility. So I ask again, where is this report? In all my years as president, I have not seen even the shadow of that law-mandated report. That is actually an omission. That is something which you failed to do. At huwag mong sabihin, wala kang responsibilidad yan. If it is required by law and you fail to do it and there's malice because you wanted to hide your crimes, paano mo ginastas, paano mo sinaipon yung pera sa Red Cross, then it becomes a case of anti-graft. Again, we are not attacking the Philippine Red Cross. We would just like to know if the resources that the government has given to it is well managed. We're only asking for the same transparency from PRC Chairman Dick. Gusto mong transparency sa mga transaction? Kaya you're dwelling on formally? In the same manner, we would like also to see if there is transparency in the Red Cross under you. And you yourself in connection with the Red Cross functions, including maybe this disbursement of money. On this note, I have already instructed the Solicitor General to write to COA Chairman Michael Aguinaldo to conduct an audit on the finances of the Philippine Red Cross. Now, there seems to be a hesitancy. Parang nag-hesitate well, again, that is a mandate of the Constitution even. You failed to do that, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, that's of all others that you failed to do. That is a violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Law. That is an omission. And that omission comes from the non-observance in the provision of the Constitution. Bakit ba nagkagulo ito? Anong nangyari? Well, in the September 17 Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, Senator Gordon, in his opening statement, admonished the government for acting too quickly in buying much-needed medical supplies during the start of the pandemic. Again, I say again, Gordon admonished government for acting too quickly in buying much-needed medical supplies during the start of the pandemic. I really cannot fathom how this matter has now become the subject of an inquiry. Did I hear you correctly, Dick? Are you saying that the government should have moved slower than we did? Hindi ko makuha ang takbo ng utak mo. Anong klaseng argument dito? There was a pandemic. Everything was supposed to act fast, promptly. And then, nandyan yan, Bayanihan 1, which Congress passed, was very explicit. Government can undertake negotiated biddings because the situation demanded it. So, ngayon, bakit, why are you trying to, cook something there? We do not know what are the ingredients that you are mixing up, and we are at a loss really of understanding the Senate now. May I remind you that we were at the height of the pandemic. Ubusan na ng supply ng medical equipment. Nakipag-agawan na tayo sa supplies sa ibang bansa. You know that. Well, if you are not aware of these things, then I'm sorry. I am just, ano mo kasi ako, I am just a cheap probinsyano politician. But my job is to correct and go after public officials, senators na yumaman dahil sa pangurakot. And I can show to you now why you are one of them. We needed masks, the PPEs right away, even when supply was scarce. Government acted fast in order to protect our health workers and save lives. It was the race of time. Alam mo yung mga doktor natin, mga frontliners na nagbabagsakan na. And there was a public outcry for government to take immediate action. Mabutit ka kayo dyan, makaupo lang because it is not your job. It is your job to criticize. If it is slow, then if it is fast, you criticize also because it is fast. So, ganun, mamili ka lang. Nasagot na namin lahat. Tama na ang pamulitika mo. Sawa na ang mga tao sa style ninyo. Magtrabaho na lang kami. Ito namang dapat talaga ang issue dyan. Meron bang overpricing? Sabi ng kuwa, wala. Meron bang ghost deliveries? Sabi ng kuwa, wala. Ano pa ang gusto mong hanapin? Magsabi ka para malaman namin, mahanap namin kung ano yung kinahanap mo. Do not ramble on for days and weeks talking to yourself practically. Ikaw na mismo and you are fighting with yourself. So, sabihin mo kung anong kulang o ano ang para malaman namin ngayon. Kung meron kang nakita, ilabas mo na para malaman namin kung ano yan. And because you could not find any overpricing, or is it because a witch hunt, a fishing expedition for a political purpose? Na kunwari sa panahon na ito, ikaw yung graft buster, ikaw yung naghahanap ng katiwalian sa gobyerno. Well, tignan natin. In the following pages, I will tell you why you are a farce. Is the ongoing inquiry truly in aid of legislation? Or is it for political purposes? The simple fact is that the Blue Ribbon Committee has failed to produce anything to prove its accusation of corruption. Alam mo, Dick, madali masyadong, it's easy to accuse. It's easy to accuse somebody, government, just for mileage. Kilala kita eh. You have been there for so many years. Wala akong nakita, well, except for ditong kay Napolis. Gusto kong malaman na tumanggap ka ba ng 88 million sa PDAF mo? Ito, kung totoo lang, inidikit mo sa PDAF, pinarking mo doon yung PDAF mo. So, you commingled it with the money of the Congress, of the Red Cross, and of Congress, yung nakuha mo. Ngayon, the money is lost forever. It cannot be accounted for if this is true. kung totoo itong pinarking mo talaga. Ang nagsasabi nga niyan, mga taga-Red Cross, nasaan na ngayon yung, I do not have the correct figure, but it's about 88. Tinawag lang sa akin sa cellphone, masama pa ang linya, na meron kang nakuha, inisali mo, doon sa pera ng Red Cross. Which means to say now that hindi na ma-audit ng COA kasi ang COA, sabi mo, hindi pwede mag-audit sa Red Cross. Yan ang kung totoo ito, kung hindi totoo, patawarin na po. Pero kung totoo ito, you must answer it. Because I am really going to insist that COA conduct an audit sa Red Cross. You cannot escape that constitutional mandate. As a matter of fact, the mandate that you have to give me a yearly report of COA's wrongdoings or anong ginawa, hindi mo binigay. Doon ko pa sana nalaman. Kasi yun, ipapasa ko sa mga accountants. Anto COA, maybe. Pero wala kang binigay. So wala kaming, government is left empty-handed. Paano, sige kahabol ng tao na kurap. Paano ka namin habulin ngayon? Kurap ka rin eh. Sabi ko nga, I am a chief politician. You are correct. I am a probinsyano. You are correct. Pero our mission here, by joining government, is to go after politicians like you who have enriched themselves, milking government of its resources. The simple fact is that the Blue Ribbon Committee has failed to produce anything to prove its accusation of corruption. Even Dick, the committee chairman, conceded that there is no overpricing, yet still he insists on pursuing this witch hunt. Alam mo kung bakit, Dick? Bakit kung wala kayong tinatago, bakit kayo matakot? Even if I spend the remaining years of months dwelling on such sabi mo na may pagkatiwalaan, then go ahead. But until now, kasi wala. Your starting point is in the fault line. The inquiry is being done at the expense of dragging government officials and compromising the government's efforts against COVID-19. At the time when cases are at all-time high and thousands of our people getting sick and dying. Nandito, instead of working overtime, nandito si Secretary Galvez, nandito si Secretary Doki, nandito si Director General. When they're supposed to do their homework kasi maraming mga, questions and doubts about maraming medisina. Even the ivermectin. Ito talaga ang gusto nilang, o gusto mo dik mangyari. Sirain ang pangalan ko at ang aking administrasyon at guluhin ang COVID response ng gobyerno dahil malapit na ang alam ko anong gusto mong takbuhan. Gusto ko nga mag one-on-one sana tayo kung may posisyon lang. Baski barangay captain na lang sa inyo. Your intentions are clear as a day. Important facts clearly presented in the recent hearing in the House of Representatives include statements made by the Commission on Audit. And I reiterate, for those who could not still accept the truth, walang overpriced na binili, walang na-deliver lahat ang binili, nagbayad lang pagkatapos na-deliver ang mga binili. Ngayon, ginalagari mo talaga kung anong gusto mong makita. Akala namin it was really just a simple truth of finding out whether there was really prompt deliveries, prompt payments and all, and everything was in order. It appears to you now as you are grinding something that is really politics. Dick, sabihin ko sa iyo, I will show you why in the next pages. Are you really a lawyer? Dick, maybe you should review your procedural law. Because if you do know the law, you should just have stopped and elevated it to the courts. Baski na with the presence of the COA saying that nothing is wrong, you can still go to the courts and file the cases if you want. You have the ombudsman. You can go for civil actions to recover the money. Anything that is possible that a lawyer can think of, especially if he is bent on not really cracking anybody's head, but cracking your own ears. I'd like to na lahat na lang, even the lower house has joined the fray. I think simply because nakikita nila that you are wasting the time of everybody. Can I have the video of Congressman Suarez, JJ? Pakinggan mo ito, Dick.
So, with that being said, Attorney Lau, thank you for your time. No? With that being said, Mr. Chairman, kaya ko po gustong i-stress yung point na ito ay unang-una po ay pinalalabas po kasi na overpriced. Napatunayan natin hindi. Sinasabi naman nila ngayon, favored yung isang kumpanya. Malinaw naman po na hindi naman favored yung kumpanya. In fact, mayroong mga kumpanya na mas malaki pa po ang natanggap na supply contract. Sinasabi naman po na doon naman po sa pag-award ng kontrata ay questionable po. Malinaw po na ayon na rin po sa batas, sumunod naman po sa proseso. So, Mr. Chair, following your call and the statements that you made earlier, I hope that we can really put an end to this topic already. I mean, what else do we need to show? Obviously, from where I stand, you know, it's starting to become and be used as a political circus already. When our resource persons here, the Secretary of Health, I think Secretary Galvez is also here, may mga representatives pa sa DOH, Vince Dizon is here, they should be attending to COVID and pandemic. Instead of attending to COVID and pandemic, they're attending committee hearings for issues that we have already showed and clearly explained na wala naman pong problema. So, wag na po natin aksahin sana yung panahon at oras ng mamamayan sa mga bagay-bagay na kung may nakikita silang mali, eh di maghablaan na lang. Kaso lang, tutukan natin yung problema ng bayan, which is COVID response and the pandemic, Mr. Chair. So again, Mr. Chair, thank you. My time is up, but I will again request that I be included in the next round. So Mr. Chair, before I end, I would like to congratulate you earlier on your statement of courage and bravery in handling the Committee of Good Governance.
Thank
Maraming
you.
salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Suarez. Thank you again for your kind words. Next to interpret is Congress.
Oh, yun na yun sa lower house. There is only one Congress. It is the upper house, the Senate, and the lower house, the House of Representatives. Pinapuna ka na. Ikaw yung pinapatamaan ni Suarez eh. Sino pa ba? In September 17 hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee, COA Chairman Mike Aguinaldo clarified again that their audit report on DOH did not include any finding that money was lost on corruption. What was noted in the reports were deficiencies in the documentation. The absence of documents does not necessarily mean that the money is lost. What was noted in the report was deficiencies. Yun lang, deficiencies. Also, Chairman Aguinaldo said that on the PSDBM audit report, there was no mention of overpricing. The audit had to do something with the inventory management and not overpricing of medical supplies. On a very important note, Mr. Aguinaldo explained that the audit is an ongoing process, meaning the agency's concern is given to comply with the recommendations. According to him, DOH already submitted to them their action plan addressing some of the recommendations of the auditor. Chairman Aguinaldo noted the resolutions of the different issues will come, not all the time, not at the same time, but one by one. But what is important is there may be some action plan to undertake. This is the rightful resolution of these issues. Our agencies will comply with the deficiencies and recommendations as provided in the process. Sadly, however, what others did was to blow these audit reports out of proportion and skewed the information to paint a picture of massive corruption. And these others call themselves senator. Mabutit na lang nagsalita na si Chairman Aguinaldo. At para hindi na namin, I said, I cannot really fathom what you are trying to prove. In the continuation sa Blue Ribbon Committee, in order for the hearings to be honest and fruitful, the Blue Ribbon Committee must treat all resource persons with utmost respect by giving them adequate time to speak and by avoiding any premature judgment. Yan ang pitfall mo sa pagkasenador. Hindi mo naintindihan talaga ang trabaho mo. And you have lost that, alam mo, di pagka mahusay ka kung mag-one-on-one ka ng kwento dyan sa koridor, sa labas. Pero once naupo ka na, manabang mo na yung givel, nag-iiba ang anyo mo. Ano ka na yung basta you just simply melt into a kind of a despot saang hindi mo pinapatapos ang tao, tapos iniinsulto mo. Balang araw, may isang tao talaga dyan magtindig sa iyo. tignan mo. One of these days, there will be somebody who will just stand up against you and say, putang ina kayong lahat. Kung nagpunta ako dito para malaman natin ang totoo. Huwag mo akong bastusin, huwag mo akong sigawan. Kasi, do you know what? Yun ang advice ko doon sa mga military. Keep the dignity of your rank as being soldier. Huwag kayong pumawag na sigaw-sigawan kayo ni Dick Gordon. Just stand up and go out. I said if the sergeant at arms i-detain ka, then once I hear about it, I will go to the Senate and get you, extract you. Yan talaga ang mangyari. Then, Senator Gordon, we will be having trouble in government. Then, Mr. Gordon, we will be having a crisis. Then, Mr. Gordon, at the end of the day, it is the country who will suffer. Ikaw, siguraduhin kita that I will reduce you to your original size. Masyado ka nang lumaki. Lumaki ng ulo mo. So it's about time na, isauli kita sa dati mong pagkatao. Up to now, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has not clearly articulated what could be the possible needed statute that prompted the need for this inquiry. The ongoing Senate inquiry has gone beyond the allowable exercise as is patiently being conducted in the primary purpose of inquiring on possible violation of laws. Isa pa yan. Hindi mo alam. Yung ano ninyo, ang pinaka-weapon mo is contempt. Hindi malaman ng tao kung magsagot siya o hindi, o magkamali, o hindi sa sumunod sa theory mo. Ayan, at takot, i-contempt. I said, one of these days, basahin ko lang para sa atin lahat, pero abogado man tayo. In the same ruling, the Supreme Court referred to a case of John Watkins versus United States of America, whereby it is upheld that, I quote, nor is the Congress a law enforcement agency or a trial organ. These are functions of the executive and judicial departments of government. No inquiry is an end in itself. It must be related and in furtherance and of the legitimate task of Congress investigations, particularly solely for the personal aggrandizement of the investigators or to punish those investigated indefensible. Aggrandizement conducted solely for the sole purpose of aggrandizement. I will reiterate, if the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee thinks it has gathered enough evidence of corruption or malfeasance from its current inquiry, then by all means bring your case to the Ombudsman or to the proper courts. Huwag kang magpalangoy-langoy dyan araw-araw. Dinadamay mo lahat ang, ano ba ang tingin ng pardon to the other senators. Alam ba ninyo ang tingin ninyo sa magtanong kayo dyan sa, hindi na ako, I will not offer anything, any statement. But if you really want to know how people size you up, then kindly go out and magtanong ka dyan sa ordinaryong tao kung anong tingin nila sa inyo.